Hello, my name is Rebecca Smith, and this is my lesson plan evaluation over the atomic bomb lesson. I felt like this lesson had a very strong writing component. I think that I observed three chances for students to write. There's a couple of um, responses to the articles that students can write about. They can also um, do further reading with another text and write about it. My favorite writing component was the Analyzing the Author's Claim worksheet, where students read a side that was in favor of the atomic bomb, and then they read an article that was against it, and they um, bring those two together and they analyze both claims. And I really like that activity because it kind of leads to a synthesis piece that could be used later on where students evaluate both claims and they evaluate the sources and they bring them together and they really wrestle with those ideas. And I really like that component of it. Also, I felt like this piece really allowed students to think in terms of an intellectual community. One of the things that I love about this is that this is something that not only was important in the past, but it's still important today. And I think that students are instantly engaged when this lesson begins because it's something that can still still affects them. That there are these capabilities out there, and I believe that students would have very passionate responses to what they read. The other thing that I really like about it is it really causes students to wrestle with their thoughts. As I was reading the literature in this lesson, I felt like, I was torn and I had, differing opinions within myself. And so I think that's so neat that the students have that they can, kind of wrestle with their beliefs and hopefully they're open to do that. Hopefully they allow themselves to wrestle with those beliefs, but it really makes their beliefs more fought for in a sense. And so I definitely think that it applies to the real world because it is something that, again, uh, affects us today, and the students should care about it. I definitely think that it allows students to think in certain disciplines in a couple of ways that I noticed. One of the things that I just mentioned, that analysis of those two different texts, that really kind of pertains to the skills of the literary discipline. Students are looking at text through a literary lens. The other thing that I noticed was the primary evidence allows for students to look at this lesson as a historian. They, get to see the aftermath of the atomic bomb, what led up to it. They really see it in so many different perspectives. It's not just one perspective, and that's one thing that I find really high quality about this lesson is um, you really get the perspective of so many different people. And so I feel like because students have so many perspectives available, they have this primary source, they're able to kind of handle the situation more like a historian would. Um, and one of the things that I just felt like it was such a quality lesson because of really all of those things, but also, like I said, so many perspectives are brought to the table. The scientists who worked on the piece, or who worked on the project, you feel their burden. You get to look at that letter that they wrote, and kind of for the first time, I even was like just thinking about kind of the burden that they must have felt. But then you also see the positives for it and you see the negatives, how it helped the Americans, but also kind of the responsibility that the United States had, and then also like how it affected Japan. And I thought one of the most you know, interesting parts of the article, and I think it was the last article that I read, stated that the men in Japan were serving in the military. So this really only affected women, children, and old people. And I never really thought about that before. So I think this is something that students are not only able to debate with each other, but even have inward debates. And I just think that is such a kind of rare opportunity to have with kids. I love that this lesson provides so many different um, avenues for engagement and also expression. Students can write about how they feel. They can debate it out. There's also a quiz that's involved. Uh, visual needs are met with the videos that are available. And I just feel like it's a really well thought out lesson. And I love that there is so much, like I said, so many perspectives, but also so much text to analyze and so many resources available that, students really do, want to pursue this even further, they can. I just felt like this was a really wonderful lesson, and I would love to use it in one of my own classes. I think it's be something that students would come away from, and not only would they learn more, but I think it would affect them as an individual, and maybe even, change their thinking um, about just, even deeper issues. I think that it just kind of, again, causes someone to wrestle with things within themselves and then, debate it as well. So, anyway, that is my evaluation of this lesson. I thought it was really well done. Thank you.